Hi, welcome to Cut and Uncut with Daphne and Bonnie Violet. My name is Daphne and I'm cut.
And I'm Bonnie Violet, and I'm uncut. Here we talk about all things trans.
And then some. In this episode, we'll speak about being Black and trans
Well, she will.
all day. Big shout out to thank you to our Patreon members, Skylar Bean, Jacob Blankenship, Elizabeth, Danielle D, and Bertha D. Thank you very much, and hugs and kisses. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, and be sure to watch us on YouTube, listen and rate us on Spotify, join us on Patreon, follow us on TikTok, and
get your merch.
We got
our mine. You got yours, Bonnie. Cheers.
Slurp, slurp, slurp. I really don't drink like that. I just thought it would be great for a little ASMR.
You saw me drinking from the cut side, Bonnie.
I can't drink from the uncut.
Just pour.
With a hole in the bottom of it.
How you doing, Bonnie?
You know, I'm doing much better now.
Your lighting was phenomenal today.
Lies. You're having a lighting. I'm having a lighting problem today, but no, it's been fun. Today's been a little rough, but all this, like the time that we've had, like getting ready and like behind the scenes stuff, it's been really fun. Thank you. You've lifted my spirits, and I'm ready for this. How about you?
I'm here for you. My horoscope told me today to show up and show out. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to show up, Bonnie, and we're going to show out.
All right. And you are a Virgo, right?
Yes, I'm a Virgo.
Yeah, I listen. I pay attention.
I know. I just found out today that you're a Pisces, Aquarius. Pisces. Yeah. My horoscope talks a lot of shit about you, but we're going to move. We'll put that on another episode.
Right. We'll have to talk about horoscopes.
Yes. So, welcome to Black History Month, everybody. So we're glad to be here. Old, black, and proud, but I'm proud to be here. It's taken me a long journey to get here, right, Bonnie?
Right, and I'm here in solidarity.
Well, I'm glad you're here for me in solidarity. You know, back in the days, this probably wouldn't have happened, sister. I'd have probably been washing your clothes and rolling your hair.
I don't know. I don't like the sound of that, but it is part of our history, I guess.
Yes, it is a part of our history. So today I would like to just go through how I experienced being Black and trans in the Black African-American culture, or the Black American culture, however we want to speak on that. So, as you know, I grew up here on the west side of Chicago. To a young mother and a father who was always in jail. So my circumstances weren't very good. I had a lot of drunks and alcoholics, or they're probably the same drunks and alcoholics, but drug addicts in my family. You know, my mom's brothers and sisters, my grandparents, that's what the culture was for me back in the 70s or 70s.
70s?
So, I've always been an effeminate child. So I think I've talked about it before in some of my, in our dialogue, Bonnie, where we talk about me growing up effeminate and wanting to be Jeannie when I was little. Well, that was frowned upon in my family. And when I talk about this stuff today, I don't want it to be for everyone in the African-American culture, just my experience. So I definitely want to put that as a non-transparent thing. So, but for me, I learned at a very young age that it was not cool to be effeminate. It was not cool to switch. It was not cool to play with dolls. And it was not cool to want to act like a girl.
And when you say switch, what is that?
Walk effeminately, which is switch.
Yeah.
Switch.
I knew. I just thought maybe
Mama gave you. You translating for those others?
No, a little light in the loafers. Is that what they call it? Light in the loafers.
Is that what they call it? Light in the loafers? Yes. And I actually seen some people that are light in the loafers. They kind of walk in their tippy toes. Does that mean that they're light in the loafers?
I guess so. They're light somewhere.
Also, Bonnie, I just want to put that out there. Switch can mean two things. Switch is this way, and switch is the stick off a tree where you get beat for switching.
Oh. Double switch, huh?
Yes, you get a double switch. So it was just frowned upon to be that way. Black men in my family or in my surrounding family frowned upon gay people, being gay in general. And I can recall my uncle coming home with bloody knuckles. And I had to be about 7. And I had asked him what happened. He was like, oh, I beat this sissy up outside. So, that was kind of a thing to kind of put in the back of my head. Well, sissies get beat up.
Yeah.
So growing up, I'm still bullied in high school and stuff. Didn't have a lot of Black male friends because I was beat up. I got my arm broken. I've gotten beat up by girls. I was fighting for my life in grammar school. And this was in the Black, my little Black culture history, with going to grammar school and all Black grammar school. I had to fight a lot. You know what I mean? And I never ran because my mother would have gave me another whooping with a switch if I ever ran away from a fight. She didn't teach us to be scary that way. But I used to always get teased by my mother saying, stop giggling. Don't hold your hand like that. Go to bed. I couldn't giggle, and my sisters would be like, stop acting like a girl. It was just very hard for me. Growing up after, I'd say by teenage years, Bonnie, I went to high school in an intermixed crowd. So I learned to get away from all of that. But I still had to hide who I was to a certain extent because my uncles did not like gay people. My grandmother did not like gay people. My family just didn't take to gay people. Still to this day, a lot of my family doesn't take to gay people. I think my intermediate family has learned to love me for who I am. And I'm so glad that I have that now. But I was afraid to really come out and talk to anybody about that. So I basically left at 16. I left because I was just ashamed and didn't really know how to deal with it, So I found in life that it was just frowned upon to be gay and to be African American, because to this day, I still hear a lot of stuff about our culture. I know in Jamaica, me and my sister was talking about this, that it's truly not allowed to be Batty Boy over in Jamaica. And she was telling me about some of the incidents that she's experienced when she went to Jamaica. And she was in a club, and then the songs come on, shoot the pop, the Batty Boy, and it's very scary. Black men can be very intimidating to me. So they've always been intimidating to me. So I think that for a lot of us trans, or for me, I should say, trans, it takes a lot to be around family and being trans, because it's really not cool. I don't know how, I've had African friends who say the same thing in their culture. It's just not something that the world is, or in the African culture or Black culture, to be accepted, and I don't understand why, because we're people. Does that make sense for you? Do you want to try on any of that?
Do you want to speak a little bit to the difference of gay and trans? And is it kind of merged, like in growing up, or because I know you've never identified as gay, you identified as trans, right? From the get. And so, but however, there's still kind of this gay, you can get labeled gay, I guess. And so maybe talking a little bit about
in the Black culture, that's all it is.
It's one thing.
It's one. They ain't dissected nothing. If you're not born with what you're born with, or you like somebody of the same sex, it's just gay. And there is no what is the words? There is no mixing between the two. There is no culture difference. What am I looking for, Bonnie? There is no he no trans or bisexual.
Yeah, there's not a sexual orientation and gender identity. It's all the same. Yeah,
it's all the same. So and I have friends in the Black culture that now come to me with asking me things about, well, why is it this way, and why do gay people behave this way? And I think the biggest part of it is because we don't have enough, or from what I'm hearing, from what I've heard, is that Black men, we don't have enough Black men in the world. I'm trying to put that right. We don't have enough of Black men to be father figures as it is, much less be identified as queer.
Because queer people don't have kids.
Then that the white society has cultured the Black male to want to wear dresses, to be effeminate, to wear skirts and things like that. That is what I have heard, that, the white man has taken the masculinity out of the African American culture. I'm just going to say that because that's what I'm comfortable with. The Black culture. So I've heard a lot of that coming up, and I know from my sister, she speaks very strongly of that. I love my sister, you know what I mean, and she loves me for who I am, but she strongly feels that is a lot of what happened to gay men in our culture. Is that it was learned behavior. And then I've been molested as well as a child too. So, and then there's the down low culture. And that I have friends that are Black men that sleep with trans girls, but will not identify as either bisexual, gay, or any of the other. I mean, have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, down low.
Not just in the Black culture, is that?
It's not. I mean, it's not in the, like, I think there's a similar. I think for me, it's like, I don't want to take away from, like, because I think there's a unique experience that you have. But I hear some similarities in the sense of, like, like, I grew up to my dad always talking about how he beat up fairies. And so, like, I kind of understand that idea and getting censored, not to equate it, but then also, like, I don't think it's like widely accepted to be gay or queer or trans even, you know what I mean? Like, within some parts of society, I guess, you know what I mean? And so, like, I understand in general, there's more of a openness, or there's probably more white people who are living queer or whatever. And so there's like more representation, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. So it feels a little like there's at least some places where it might feel a little bit more isolating for, folks who are non-white, and really, I think finding community, no?
Yeah. And another part of it is the church. You flat out cannot go to church and say you gay, because it is highly frowned upon in a Baptist church to identify as gay, and it's talked about a lot, and it's just scandalized. So it's difficult.
Even though there's a lot of gays in the church, right? They just don't talk about it.
Oh, child, they've been saved, so it don't.
It don't matter.
Child, they've been saved. So, yeah. and then, but then that gets into, I'm not, you know what? I hate to try to put people in a class, you know what I mean? But I know some sisters that's in the church that's married to some sisters that have children, but yet they go to church on Sunday and then they tipping in them streets on Saturday night. So, and you hear the stories about them. There's some celebrities that are in the limelight about being in this culture. And let me tell you, honey, they will be canceled immediately had some hardcore evidence comes out, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It does make sense. And how has it been, like, I guess and to take it a little further, how has it been, I guess, to be Black within the trans community? Maybe, I don't know, like, because you have like, you're holding like two different intersections that that can, you know, that creates marginalization. And so that I'm sure is like, right. Well, just in the sense of like, you're like a Black person with trans people, and then with Black folks, you're the trans person, in the ways of like trying to, in the ways that we separate each other. And so like, I guess, how do you, I don't know, I guess that's a lot of what this is about, is you kind of speaking about that a little bit, right?
Yeah. Predominantly in the trans culture, my sisters are fierce, you know, and I can honestly be very proud of my trans sisters in the community, because them sisters are strong. You know, they may say, you know, oh, you queer, but baby, we still have that man in us. You know what I'm saying? We still have to have that, because we had to fight all our lives. Like Oprah would say, all my life I had to fight. Yeah, so in actuality, just being able to express that softness and endure that femininity, but yet don't forget that I'm still a Black man in my heart. You know, if that makes sense. Yeah. Does that make sense? I know who I am.
Right.
And I embrace my femininity. So some people just can't see that.
Right, right. Well,
you either have to be this or that.
Yeah, and some people are gonna, regardless of how you think about yourself or whatever, they're gonna see you as a man, and so they're gonna treat you like a man, and you have to be able to like defend yourself or respond to that, or be able to hold your own.
Right. I think that I'll give you an example. Today at work, there's some things happening. People are getting awards, and you know, I hustle my butt off. And it's not only because I'm good at my job. I do it because I've never been given an opportunity to say I'm proud of you in public. I've never gotten that opportunity to say, good job, Daphne. And I'm not going to really say, there's been I'm not going to say never, but, once or two times. But this team that I'm on, that I absolutely adore, I really want to make an impact on this team. And I've done so much in the 3 years that we've started this team. And I have rarely even gotten a pat on the back, or it seems like any little thing that I try to do, it's just not noticed. And then, like I said in my horoscope, I'm very spiritual. I have to remain spiritual when it comes to my emotions, because any little thing can cause dysphoria for me. So it'll make me think, oh, I'm not good enough because I'm trans, or I'm not good enough for I'm Black. That's 2 strikes against me right there. If I got another strike, I might as well jump. You know what I mean? So it's hard to have to fight to get recognized, but I hold on to my spirituality, because it's those little jewels that are given to me, that is said to me, like I told you earlier, show up and show out. Don't do things to get acceptance from other people. Do it because you know that you enjoy doing it, and it's a passion for you, and you can enjoy the acknowledgement that you're doing a great job. That can sometimes be hard for me, when you're seeing people that are different than you constantly getting praised over and over and over again. Yeah. So it's hard for me to take that personal as a Black trans woman. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I can see that. I hear that, and I see that, and
it makes me want to cry.
That makes me sad too, because I know that you work really hard, and you care a lot about what you do, and it breaks my heart to think that you're not feeling appreciated or seen or cared for, and to think that it's because of like race and being trans. It's sad. And I hate that.
And like I said, the only thing that saves me from losing it, like I'm about to, is because I want to blame it on myself. It's just you, Daphne. Get over it. You're fine. It's not them. You don't need anything from them. Just keep doing what you're doing. But it can build up so bad that I don't want to get up tomorrow. I don't want to go to work. Like, why am I even here? You know what I mean? It's like, but I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to give up, you know? And I've had to have that attitude my whole life. And I don't know if that's basically the gender dysphoria, or is it the being Black and oppressed, or is it be Black and trans and oppressed? Because I get oppressed just from being trans, let alone from my own people. Then I get oppressed from being Black and trans. I mean, it's a double-edged sword everywhere, you know? And I know damn well you do not get that kind of thing for you. Like, have you ever been shunned, not just for being trans, but from your skin color?
No.
It's a whole nother game level of being at the bottom.
Yeah, it's definitely different. And I hadn't ever, you know, growing up in a trailer in a small town in a mostly white community. We did have, like, my last name's Quintana. I'm Mexican. I don't look it. I wasn't raised in the culture at all. And I was very aware of that. And I was very aware that if I would have a much different experience than where I was at. It would have been a lot harder. I would have had a lot less opportunities. People would have only seen me a certain way. And so, but to some degree, I still kind of felt like, especially as I realized I was gay and, you know, being poor and all this sort of stuff, I was like, oh, that's oppression. That's marginalization. So all marginalization is the same. And it really took me moving out to Chicago and really coming to learn that it's not the same, you know. And I think the ways that I try to explain that sometimes to people back home is like, okay, yeah, your life was hard. Yeah, you didn't have a lot of the things that you wanted, or you felt oppressed, or blah, blah, blah. But think about what it would have been like if you had Black or brown skin during that.
And not just Black, darker brown skin.
Exactly, right? And like, and if they're honest, they know it would have been even more difficult, you know, and you know, there's, And so, but I think it took me a while to really see past my own struggle, my own challenges, to see that somebody else could be having a different experience that is something that I can only attempt to empathize with and do my best to just know that there's a difference, right? And not try to like same it, I guess, because I think that was a lot of like the initial thoughts was just like trying to find what I have in common with you. Like even when you were talking to me about like how I relate to it or whatever, it's like I don't want to like I don't want it to come down to a comparison, because that's not what it is.
Right.
Because I do recognize that they're different experiences, period. Right. You know, and kind of like what you talked about earlier when we started, you said, you know, I just want to say that this is my experience. I don't want to like, you know, this is one narrative. It's not every Black trans woman's narrative or every Black person's narrative or trans person's narrative. You know what I mean? And it's really just our own. And the only ways that we're going to come to broaden our point of view or our perspective or our worldview is to not just have one Black friend or one different friend or whatever, but really it's about, you know, being able to be with a diverse group of people in all aspects of life, whether it's work, whether it's friendships, church, you know, all the things, you know.
And I am blessed to have a lot of that as well. So I do have white friends. I do have, you know, Spanish friends. I adore all my friends. And like I said, I don't see color when I enjoy my friends, because they're like my family. They're a part of me. You know, love doesn't see color.
Right.
It's good to have that. But if I'm in a room of all Black people, somehow I feel this small. and insecure, and because I know from my own experiences, somebody's going to come at me disrespectful.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to make some wisecrack jokes, or I'm going to get so uncomfortable, I'm going to leave. And that's a lot of reason why I drank a lot too, was just to feel comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah, that's
you
real.
know, and but that's been the you know, the gist of it. Like some parties I won't get invited to because it's all black, or you know what I mean, or you know, some of my girlfriends are like, oh, well, you wouldn't be comfortable in there, you know, it's a bunch of black men in there, you know what I mean. I like black men,
right.
but they may not like me, but I like them. And I don't have a problem with being around somebody if you don't make me feel uncomfortable, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't know what that's like, but it makes me think about like the transness aspect. I feel like, you know, I don't always feel like I'm a part of, you know, I don't feel like I'm a part of the gay community anymore, like because I used to hang out with gay men, and you know, and I don't fit in there anymore, and
you've been boxed, sister.
I don't fit in with heterosexual people, but then there's not many trans people to hang out with, and so it often feels, or sometimes it's like sometimes I have a hard time being with a group of other trans people in public, because then I feel like it just makes it obvious that we're all trans or that I'm trans. I don't know. It's really weird because it shouldn't be that way, but sometimes I feel like it almost makes me more vulnerable than like kind of being by myself or whatever. I don't know where I got off talking about this.
No, and I understand that. I completely understand that. You know, when I was transitioning, all of my girlfriends were black sisters, black queens transition. Well, they didn't transition, but you know what I mean? We were all, you know, transing together.
Right.
And they didn't want to have a sex change or anything like that, but they enjoyed dressing up, and we enjoyed each other's companies, and we'd go out down in Minneapolis, you know, the gay 90s. And we just kiki down the streets, and we loved each other's company, but we would not do that during the daytime. You know what I mean? And so the culture was there and for us, you know, as sisters, you know, I've always felt like we can bond together as sisters. Black trans girls, we bond. You know what I mean? We do. And so that part, I can honestly say I've always had a bond with my black trans sisters. So that's always been a blessing for me, and Spanish girls, but predominantly I'd say my strongest bonds have been with black queens.
I would say I have a lot of strong connections with black trans women. I think for whatever reason, like I've had many black trans women like clock me before I knew, you know, like I remember Mama Carol, she like came up to me once and she's like, girl, you know, like a little bit of moans and, you know, that'll soften you right up. And I was just like, no, I'm good, you know, but like, you know, I know people saw me before I saw me, and they loved me and they reflected it back to me. And they also didn't like push me, or you know what I mean? Like they let me be me,
but that's also how they got me. Oh girl, you
I felt seen.
A little something.
Yeah, totally. They're like, that's the way it is with a lot of things in life, though. It's like, it seems like you're the last to know, right?
But I'm glad I did find out, because I'm so happy in that respect of my life. I'm happy to be trans. I'm so happy to have met you. I'm so happy that I had the surgery. Well,
I think one thing that I love about being trans, I guess, in some ways, or like even being queer, is just like I get to live authentic because I have to, you know. I think you know, I think it could be harder to live authentically if I was say just like a cis white straight guy. Like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like what do I have to be authentic about? Or I don't know, that's horrible to say. But I think it would have been really
Willis.
I know, but it would have been a lot. I think, I don't know. It's interesting because it's not my experience. So I don't really know for sure. And I don't mean to say it to like put anyone down, but I feel like I'm authentic or working on being authentic because I have to, it's like you don't have a choice. And I don't understand how anybody doesn't have a choice to be authentic at some point in time in your life, at least.
I also have a gay cousin who just, as I was transitioning, he just adored me. His name's John John. And he just adored me. And he was just follow behind me everywhere I went. Little John John was right behind me. I was like, that little, and that's how that's going to be my little, my little cousin. And so John John grew up to be a Black gay man. Mm-hmm. And I have to say that me and John John, out of generations of our family and culture, we're the only two that I think there's one more, but I don't know if he's like in the life. But we're the only two. And let me tell you, John John is a fighter. He has to cuss. He's got a tongue sharper than a razor blade. Mm-hmm. But you have to get thick skin because the world ain't ready for you, or so they're gonna attack you from all sides. Yeah, at least that's the way I felt. You're being attacked from all sides. You gotta fight or flight. Yeah. So
I feel like that's almost a survival. It's like a survival. Like
for a while it was, Bonnie.
Yeah.
For a while it was survival, and so unfortunately a lot of my sisters didn't survive it because we had to be out in them streets.
Yeah.
I could not go home dressed in a dress and a skirt. And my aunt had told me, you better not ever come to my house dressed up as no damn woman.
Oh, wow.
Just like that. And what did I do? Show right up at her house, dressed up as a woman.
Oh, wow.
It's like, well, you look so nice, you might as well just come on in.
Well, that's cool.
So, and that was an amazing door opener for me.
Yeah.
Because it was, and I still have family that slowly coming around. Now, I've been this way since I was 16. I started transition, and I think I came home right after my surgery. And some families still don't be like, and then my southern cousins, forget it. Don't even go down to Mississippi. Don't even go to Missouri. Don't even go, St. Louis and all that. I call myself trying to go. I haven't been down to this way with my family for a while, so I'm making my way. I still never told my nephew, by the way. I just don't think that that's a conversation we need to have because he never knew me that way.
Do you need to?
Yeah, and he loves me. He calls me his titi, and I just adore my nephew. But it reminds me, Bonnie, I went home for a funeral. Was it a funeral? For some reason, I had to go down to Mississippi and St. Louis for, I think it was for someone's funeral. I can't remember. But anyway, in my youth, we used to go back and forth to Mississippi for my great grandmother. We grew up, we were raised in the South. We'd go, and how it went was all the kids go to Mississippi for the summer, and then we come back during school time. So that's how it went. And our parents would have all the time, hoorah, whatever. But we were raised by a great great grandmother, and in Mississippi, where the cotton was being picked, and that far back. And the soybeans had just started to come, and we had to shuck the peas and harvest. And so we were raised by these people. But I had an Annie Pearl, who I just adored as a kid. I had to be 4. And I went to this funeral and saw Annie Pearl. And she looked at me and said, and I'm looking like the 9s, like I want to do because I'm going back. And she looked at me and was like, oh, this the faggot of the family.
Oh. Wow.
While my nephew was walking in right behind me, who I never spoke to about any of that.
Right.
I was absolutely mortified. And so, you know what I did? I didn't even go back the rest of the trip. I stayed in the hotel room and relaxed because I didn't have to put up with that.
Pay them no mind. That's what.
But I definitely made it known. Don't disrespect me like that. And so she called me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to approach it. That's just what I knew.
Girl.
You know, and so
wow.
Makes you think. I mean, yeah, them the Southerners, and that's how it is. You know, Southern family does not take to lifestyle.
Well, how has it been? Because my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, like you've like my perception is that you've been living your life and seen as a woman, not even as a trans woman, for a long time. Maybe in the general public, obviously with family, it's a little bit different dynamic. Am I? And I feel like
I think that's a fair assumption.
And what changed, I guess, for you to
when I decided to
choose to be more open about being trans?
I don't know what everybody's eyes see, but
right.
But for me, I didn't tell people about me being trans until maybe 6 years when I learned recovery and to accept myself. And that's when I decided to stop drinking. And that's when I decided to embrace myself and be comfortable in my own skin truly and tell my story and be comfortable telling my story. And it's been okay. It's been okay for the last 6 years. I haven't had any true, nobody's come to my face and has, let me have it. But like my aunt told me the other day, you ain't going to Jamaica.
Well, it's so wild because I would think most people would look at you and just think you were a cis woman.
From your mouth to God's ears. But I don't know. Everybody sees that.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? I don't know what Black people have a sixth sense, baby.
Right.
They got a sixth sense. They know stuff that you don't know that they know. They do. Yeah, I never know if they know or not. But most Black women do know. They know. Sisters know.
Mm-hmm. So in kind of talking about being trans more publicly, that's part of like your recovery, you would say, like as a part of living authentically? Because so was there a part of you that wanted to be more open about it all along? Or like, was there something that happened that shifted that?
What happened, Bonnie?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
Bonnie, what happened? No. Well, I remember when like I said, I was a house manager for a women's recovery house. So if they knew, they never spoke about it. It was nothing that was ever brought into my attention. Maybe they was deathly afraid of me. I don't know. I do tend to have a very strong personality. I don't think it's intimidating or at all. But it was never brought up. It was right after I moved out of there. I even came out to my job. I came out trans to my job. I don't know what happened. I just figured I don't have to live like that anymore.
Yeah.
I want a genuine life. I want what's real for me. And it may be hard and I didn't know how hard, but it was a burden to walk around in my head wondering, does she know I'm a man? Does she think I'm a man? Does she think I'm a woman? You know what I mean? That gets in here and that will drive you just bonkers itself. If you just release it to yourself, well, yes, I am. And so what?
Right. And just own it. Well, and there's a way of like that also. Like, I remember when I was first diagnosed with HIV, when I was 20, and I remember like a big part of that was like, do I tell people? How do I tell people? When do I tell people? And I remember like when it came into dating, because I was young, I just was like, for me, it was just like, you know what, I'm going to make it known as soon as possible. Like I just want to make it known that I'm positive right away so that people can reject me before it even starts. You know what I mean? And so I feel like in a lot of ways about being able to be authentic like this or to be so open or out is just like, it really does filter out the people that you don't need to fuck with, like the people that are just going to be harmful or taking up space or, you know what I mean? Distracting you from whatever, or leading to potential harm.
Yeah. And I think when I date, I tend to date whatever's under the sun. No, I'm not gonna say that. Like, I prefer brown skinned men, not African American men, men of just brown skin. I like brown skin. Like, I'd say Colombian or Dominican or Puerto Rican or Saudi Arabian, or did I just mention like the whole kind?
Right.
But I'm saying that because it's very important for me to let men know that I am post-operative, that I'm a sex change, and that I'm, transgender, because I get so many different responses of, well, what the fuck is down there? You know what I mean? Because a man, when they think of me as trans, think, oh, she's got a penis, But when I say I don't have a penis, do they want me or they don't want me?
Right, yeah.
Some of them want me to have a penis, and some of them be like, nah, sister, I don't want a penis. So I don't know what you're going to get out there. And it's so sad that you have to come out in the world and let people know what's down in your get down.
So do you tell people right away?
What?
Like when in a dating situation?
Only if I like them.
Yeah.
And when I say I like them, that means we can go out on a date, we can have a great time, and we can talk. I'm not kissing you, you're not kissing me. I'm not leading you on thinking that this is something that it's not. Right. I'm totally capable of paying for my own food. I will definitely reach in my purse first. So you can say, no, I'm taking you out to dinner. Okay, well, then that's good. But I'm definitely not going to go out with somebody if I can't pay for my own food. Right. That's for sure. And I think the only time that I tell a man about my sexual orientation is when, actually, no, I tell him from the get-go. From the get-go. And I don't mince words, because the last boyfriend that I had, I told him right away. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, I think you're fine as fuck, and we talked on the phone for a couple of days, and I was like, well, I don't think I'm the girl for you, because I have to be honest, I'm a sex change, and then I go through that, and so you let me know how you want to proceed. And I just knew, especially from him coming from prison, he was gonna come kill a bitch. But he was like, no, let's unpack this, let's talk about this. Mm-hmm. And then, as you know, the whole story, how that went. But I think that it's easier. And I get so angry when these girls go out here and they go out with these guys and they're not being honest.
Yeah. But you can understand why too, though.
Huh?
But can you understand why they would?
Oh, of course. Too? I was that girl. What you mean? I was that girl. I did it for a long time until I realized that it's dangerous. Until I realized that I'm walking in a room with 3 girls who with 3 dudes that don't know that we 3 dudes, and my wig fell off and got stuck on some kind of a freaking some kind of a lampshade or whatever it was, and I locked myself in the bathroom.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So my friends brought me my wig. I was like, girl, we gotta go. So they kicked us out, but it could have gotten a lot worse.
Yeah, totally.
So, but I've learned you don't play with people's emotions, Bonnie.
Yeah. It's so hard too when you're in those places of being so vulnerable. I know in dealing with HIV and stuff, it was like I was always willing to tell everyone, but I could definitely understand how hard it was to not, and I think I don't, I think part of me not dating right now as a trans person is like, I mean, it's obvious. So it's not something I have to come out about, but I think it's still,
pretty girl, you party.
Mm-hmm. But still it's like, I don't know, but it's still, like it's still hard. And it's like, especially when you're like, I have pretty low self-esteem when it comes to like my aesthetic and how I look. So like getting any sort of attention sometimes feels good, even though it's not good. You know what I mean? And so I could very much understand at a different time in my life. Mm-hmm. I probably could have been in a lot like I could have put myself in a lot of really compromising situations just because I know that there was plenty of times I dated men, or I went out with men, or I had sex with men just because I felt like they, you know what I mean? Like there were just so many reasons that weren't great. That, you know, like I'm just love that I'm not at that point in my life right now where I can still have like the low self-esteem and like want to feel pretty, but I don't have to like let that determine and cause me to become vulnerable in any certain relationship that I don't want to be in, or that could be dangerous, or, you know, anything like that.
You know, at my age, Bonnie, after the last...
What is your age?
What's my age?
I'm not saying it. So
after my last relationship, Bonnie, I've learned that it's great. It's nice to be in a relationship, but it doesn't define me. I don't need to be in a relationship when I have such a great relationship with myself. You know, I'm learning I don't have to, you know, wear makeup. I don't have to wear a wig all day. I don't have to dress up or put nail polish, or I can just go outside in my pajamas with my messy fucking nest bun and be okay with me and not really give up if anybody cares.
Baxter don't care either.
Because my baby Baxter don't care. Period.
Right. Well, we're at like 45 minutes. I don't know if we want to start winding down, or I don't remember if we go for an hour or 45 minutes. What do we do? I don't remember.
You're the producer. Make it work.
I know. I'm just trying to remember if we do 45 minutes or an hour. I mean, or somewhere in between then. So I don't want to rush you though.
We could do either.
Well, let's keep talking. What more do you have to say, girl?
Well, I want to say this to my sisters. I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to speak upon these things for me. Hopefully, we shedded some light on what it's like in for what it was like for me being Black and trans. And I'm very proud to be Black. First of all, I'm very proud of myself. I'm very proud of my culture. I'm very proud of my parents. I'm very proud of everybody that has to walk in Black skin, because it's not easy. But also, I want to give a big shout out to my Black trans sisters, because you know what it's like. We basically kind of probably share the same things, but I just want to invite all of you to reach out to me and Bonnie, join us on these talks, because they are a lot of fun and we enjoy each other's company. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to just share some of me with you again. It means a lot to me. It really does.
Yeah, and thank you, Daphne, for inviting people into you and your experience. I really appreciate getting to sit next to you, so to speak, in this screen, and just get to know more of you, you know. And I just appreciate our friendship so much. Like, I know. It's just so wild.
Well, next week we're gonna talk about you, Bonnie.
No, we aren't. We're next week. We're gonna do like a reaction video or something, because
you better pop that in there.
Yeah, because we're out. Like I'm technically out. I'm out. Like, you know, I'm in Vegas for a wedding that I'm officiating next week, and then I'm performing in drag for the first time in Boise like the next week. So we're gonna do some pre-recording. Some pre-recordings, maybe some reaction videos.
Which I have no idea of what they are, by the way.
Well, we just watched some shit together and kiki about it, make fun of like people's fashion, or
how are we gonna watch it?
Or maybe we listen to a song. Well, what we can do is we go into this like format, and then but we just record it instead of go live. We can bring up the video right up on the screen. We can watch it. We can react live. It's super cute.
Thank you so much for being with me today, Bonnie Violet. And thank all of you for watching us.
Of course, and happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. Did I say that right?
All right. Bye-bye.
Get y'all merch.
Oh, get your merch. Get your merch. Yours is mint, right?
It's mint green.
Mint green.
Yes, it's mint green.
Bye-bye.
From the cut side, yeah.